Hi, and welcome to yet another session in AI and C Sharp, where we will today look at what is called Foundry Local. And this is an introduction, mostly because Foundry Local is still a very early thing, and more things are coming from Microsoft, but they are in private previews that I don't have access to. But the basic stuff is ready, and let's see how to use it, what it is, how to use it in code, and so on. So what is it? Well, first of all, it's an offline AI. And there's other often offline AIs out there, and the most known one is Ollama. Um, Foundry Local is, in my book, bigger than Ollama. Right now, you can argue it's not. It's about the same, that you can have some kind of service you run on your machine, and it can on the fly download models and so on. Foundry Local can do exactly the same, and we will see a demo of that. But what Microsoft has also previewed is that it can actually have agents and MCP servers included in it, and that is not, as I see it, what Ollama can do, which can only just host models. Another thing is it's not the same as Azure AI Foundry, which I have made a separate video on. It's getting its models from the Azure AI Foundry, but you don't need to have an Azure account or anything in order to do what I'm about to show you. So that is the differences and the things. So let's see it in action by trying to install it. And just a disclaimer, I have a very old desktop now. I should get it replaced, but it's an 8th generation. I think we're like in 14th generation now. I have plenty of memory, but that doesn't help here. My memory graphics card is also quite low. So what you will see me do is only use some of the very, very low models. I simply cannot run the big ones, but that's not the important part here. So let's just go to a command prompt. And in order to do this, we need to install the Microsoft Foundry Local, which is just a winget package like most other tools. And it will take a little time to install. But what this is essentially doing is just giving us something that can run the command line so we can begin to run AIs in a local session. This might take you a little longer the first time, based on your internet speed, of course, but also I have this dependency package already installed. So once I have done this, I can write Foundry and get some information. And it has primarily three things: model, cache, and service. So service is if it's running, model is all the models it can get online, and cache is what the models we have installed already. And right now you would be able to see that if I run Foundry cache list, I don't have any models yet, but you can see the service. Oh, I have a model because I tried this in the past. And that's one thing. Normally, Ollama cleanups by itself. It apparently seems that this does not. So if we were to get rid of this, we need to say remove and then this name like this. And yes, we are sure that we want to get rid of it. So now we have no models. In a similar fashion as we say status or service status, we can see that we are running, and you can see it's called /OpenAI. That's because it's using the OpenAI model of working with things behind the scenes, which is just an open standard. But what we want to do is, of course, we want to have the models. So we will see that we can list all the different models here. Lots of different models on various sizes, which I can't run. And it's up to date. So you can, for example, see the new ChatGPT open source that was, I think it was yesterday, as time of this recording, it was released, and it's already here on the list. So that's pretty nice. And all these models are the models you can also get up in Azure Open AI Foundry. But because I have such a poor machine, I will take the absolute minimal model, and I will go in and say I want to run model run this model. And as we see it here, it has 3 different ones here, but it will look at my machine and figure out if it's best to run a GPU version or a CPU version. You could write these to override that. But if I do this, it will now download the model, all depending on internet speed, of course. And once it's done, it will load the model. And now we have a chat as such. Let me quickly go out of the chat and do a CLS so we can get it up here at the top. So now we'll start the model. It's already in cache, so it's ready to run, and we can say hello to it. So this is a model. It's fairly dumb and fairly small, meaning that it doesn't understand everything, and it tends to give very long answers compared to the newer modern models. But again, if you have the GPU power to do this, you can run something that are like ChatGPT in one of the small models that are fairly hefty. But I could ask, what is the capital of Spain? And it will give me back that. So this is exactly what Ollama can also do and stuff. But of course, as developers, we are more interested in what you can do with the system in general. And in order to test that, I will actually just remove the model. So oh, it didn't have them. Let's see. Cache list. It have that. Let's get rid of it. Because what I want to do is I want to try to simulate that you actually make this for a customer that have nothing installed already, but they allowed you to install some code and run all this. So you could of course make a documentation saying you need to do this, you need to do this, and so on. But I rather want to have that, let's say we have absolutely nothing on the machine other than having normal WinGate. So now if I run Foundry, it would have absolutely no idea what that is. So the first part of this in the code, and the code that we're going into is my, let's have the code here, is my AI samples repo, which is online and open source, so you can grab all the code there. And what we're looking at is the AI Foundry local here. So this is just a console app, and it's a console app that can make sure that this machine, who have absolutely no idea what Foundry local is, have no models downloaded or anything, this sample code will go and actually go from 0 to actually talking to an AI locally. And in order to do that, right now I'm using Semantic Kernel. This is not a requirement. You can use the Azure OpenAI NuGet package. You can use the Microsoft Extension AI NuGet package. Doesn't matter. I'm just used to Semantic Kernel and their agents, so I'm using that. And The other package we need is the Microsoft AI Foundry Local. And this is only if you want to manage these things. If you just want to have a manual setup where you run the winget install and you download the models and stuff, you don't need this either. So if you have an all up and running system, you can just run it. But it's more, in my book, it's better to use this package in order to control it, because there's some things about which ports are being used and stuff. But let's go into the code and see exactly what's going on. And I have some usings, but that's nothing important. But the most important thing is I want to first check in the code, because I want to be an out-of-the-box experience for a user without having anything here. So I just have the package ID of Microsoft Foundry Local, and I will just quickly do a winget list ID. Again, this has nothing to do with AI, and if you don't want to do these parts, you don't need to. You can just run the processes yourself. But I'm just doing a winget list and checking if the output actually contains that, which we will see when we go here and run this. So if we do it like this, the output back will be no installed package. So it won't know the name of the package, and for that reason it will say that Foundry is not installed yet. And if we haven't installed it yet, we want to install it. So we just inform the user that we are installing it. It will take some minutes. We saw it before. And then we are just running winget install, and we are putting in some extra things, so we don't need to, if there is ever an agreement or something you need to say yes to, you would be able to do. But let's just kick this off, because again, it will take a little time. But behind the scenes, you could have your automated system download the package in the background and be ready for it once it's downloaded. So right now my console here will say Foundry installed, installing, and it might take some minutes. Right now I'm not giving any feedback, because I don't want to pass the feedback from the process. But if you wanted to do that, you could do that, of course. But now it's installed, 35 seconds, so that's okay. And that's of course a one-time thing. If I move this up again here to the top and do the same now and try to check if it's installed, the output would say Foundry and it has the name in it. So for that reason it will say it's installed, and it won't try to do the install again. So you could have this code in there and it will not take up too much time other than 2 process calls. Then I want to use this alias. So again, I'm just using the alias. That was both the alias and the ones that if it was GPU bound or CPU bound. And right now I haven't downloaded it. So when I run this, I use the NuGet package from Microsoft AI Foundry Local. And the only thing it really has is the Foundry Local Manager, where you tell it, start this model. And this will take a while again, because right now it's actually downloading the 500 megabytes of model, starting up the process. Again, remember we had absolutely nothing that could run. But now we got the model back. And what we get back is a manager that have what the endpoint will be. API key is nothing, because there is none, so you could write whatever. And it just says the system is starting. The manager here can start and stop and do all kinds of things in order to do this. But among the other things it can do is it can get the model info. And the model info is needed because this was just the alias. And a real AI needs to have the full name of the model, and that is what we get here in terms of, we have the alias here, but we have the real name, which is the model idea here, saying it's GPU, run on the GPU right now. And beyond this, it's normal AI. If you have tried semantic kernel before, it's very much the same. Right now, we are just using the OpenAI chat completion, and we're taking the model ID from that, the endpoint, and there is no API key. You can write whatever here, it won't be used because it's a local endpoint. So we just built the client, we just built the agent. You could use kernel directly, you could use chat completion service instead, but I just tend to use the agent. And then we have the normal thing, just copy pasted from semantic kernel's hello world, where we go and ask the user about something, hello, and it will come back again with a fairly long question because it's a very low level model, but that's just my machine's capabilities. And what you could perhaps do is, when you choose model here, you could go in and check on the machine spec. Is it a high level machine? Then I can use a bigger model. If it's a low level machine, I can use a smaller model. But now I'm just in a normal chat environment. What is the capital of Germany? And it can answer that back. So quite normal in the system. And this was, of course, a longer process from we started F5 in the Visual Studio to it was ready. It took a long time. And that was because we set up everything behind the scenes using all this extra code. But now if we run it, and we just get rid of all the breakpoints, it will just start the model and are ready to chat in a quick fashion. And we can say hi, and it's ready. So that is how you use a local model, but also just as important, how you make it out of the box for the user, so you don't need to tell them, hey, go follow this guide before you can use my AI app. It will just behind the scenes say, okay, you can have people confirm what they're doing or do it just behind the scenes, or depending on the system. But that has nothing to do with AI, that has nothing to do with Local Foundry. That's how you present a desktop app in your system. So I think that is everything. Again, later on, this Local Foundry will begin to have agents where you can actually download a ready-made agent and have it do something on your behalf. It can be, for example, doing something with your file system, OCR, and so on. That is not yet ready for GA. So we will keep it up for a future version of a video. And again, the same thing with the MCP servers seem not to be ready either. But this is a very, very good way of having a desktop app running AI locally. But of course, it depends on how beefy your customers' machines are, if they get a good experience or not with the AI part. That's everything. Thank you for listening. See you in the next one.